Hey everyone, welcome back to second edition, second part number two. Let's call it that of this week's episode of the Patriots Report. Christopher Price, the Boston Globe, BostonGlobe.com. Chris Hogan, podcast partner here. And one thing we want to talk about this week: the OTAs are underway. Guys are in Foxborough. They've had relatively good attendance, but there's been a big name that hasn't been there, or at least when we've been there. I know that he's been in the building. I know that guys talk about him as a very attentive teammate, the kind of guy they want to play with. But Stefon Diggs made some news this past week. There was a video that popped up of him in Miami on a boat. I made a half-hearted attempt at a joke the other day saying that nothing good ever happens when you're a wide receiver on a boat. Just ask the New York Giants, right? So I'm curious to get your take on all of this. I'll let you know my thoughts here right off the bat. It's two things. I think two things can be true in this case. I think, first of all, it is a horrible look for a 31-year-old veteran wide receiver who's been in the league 10 years. And I'm not tisking him for whatever was in the bag, but to be able to have that caught on a cell phone video, I think it's a cell phone video, while your team is going through an OTA session, even if you're rehabbing. I get that. That's a horrible look. The other thing, it's May. And part of me is like, look, if this happened during the bye week, if he got hurt and he was down in he was down in Florida doing this, I think I would be more upset if I was a Patriots fan. But at this point, it's May, and if he goes out in the opener against the Raiders and has 9 catches for 110 yards and 2 touchdowns, this is a footnote.
Yeah, I just think it's the optics, right? It's because this is a team with a new coach, and Vrabel's out here talking about this, what type of players I want to have on this team, what we're going to do. Like, it's the New England Patriots, man. Regardless of what we've done in the last couple of years, there are eyes on us as a nation, right? Of, all right, how is New England going to be this year? Can they get it back together? Can they get the dynasty that they've had for 2 decades long with Tom and Bill, and can they get it back to here? And then you have Mike like talking about, this is the type of guy that I'm going to bring in. This is the type of team that I'm going to have. And then you have this kind of pop up. I mean, listen, like you said, it's May. It's the off season. Do guys need to be at OTAs right now? No, it's not mandatory, right? These are like, the guys can kind of do what they have to be doing, right? He could be rehabbing in Miami. It just, again, it's the optics. You're on a boat with doing it, obviously having a good time. Like, don't hate on that. Like, live your life, man. But like, also, you're not just like a third, fourth string wide receiver that we just brought in to kind of just be a player, right? Or maybe try to make this team. Like, nah, we gave you a lot of money, gave you a big deal, brought you in to be a leader of that room. And like, also, like, dude, I know how much this guy cares about football. Like, you see it every single week. So do I expect him that he doesn't care about football now? Like, no, that's not what I'm saying. But I'm just like, hey man, like, let's go do something here, right? Like, let's be in the building right now. Like, let's forget about the outside stuff. And again, like, I'm hating on somebody's lifestyle and how they're going to live their life during the off season. Like, I certainly, had my priorities when I was in the off season, but like, and mine were obviously very different with, 3 kids at home or whatever the time was, and a wife that I didn't see. So like, obviously I was more set on doing that, but again, everyone's gonna make their judgments on this because of who he is, where he was signed to, and the reality of the world that we're living in. But it's not a great look. And also, like you said, comes out in week 1 against Vegas and has however many catches, a couple touchdowns, and no one's gonna remember this. Like, who cares? But all of a sudden he's not ready for week 1, or he doesn't come out in week 2 and he has only a couple targets and he can't get open, or has whatever, right? Like, there are things that can happen. Then everyone is going to come back to this. That's the inevitable factor of it. So it's either going to go one way or the other. I think that there's some stuff internally that Mike just has to kind of deal with himself, him and Stefon probably just need to have a talk and be like, hey, you know, where are you at with this? You know, what are we doing here? Kind of type of thing. And I'm not saying that Mike's gonna be like, hey, you're gone. Like, I don't, that's doesn't seem like this type of situation, but it's just like, hey, man, like, help me out, right? Like, I'm trying to build something here. I'm trying to rebuild a culture, build, bring in all these guys and have a certain type of mentality of this for this team. And that just kind of it hurts it a little bit, right? It kind of hurts. It hurts Mike in everything that he's saying, and I think for a lot of these younger guys, it hurts them a little bit, right? It's like they probably were excited to have Stefan in the building and excited to see him on the field and learn from him as a 10-year veteran that's been accomplished in this game. Like let's I don't know, rein it in a little bit, man.
Yeah.
Just like that. I mean, that's my kind of like we said, that's my just my outside perspective. And again, guys, I'm not saying or live your life. Like that's not what I'm saying. Have fun and he's only 31 years old, but also, what's our overall goal here for this year?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
are you trying to just make a couple $1 million and play out your contract and not really do anything? Or are you trying to bring this team back to the playoffs? So
Well, the other thing too with him is that, and he discussed this a little bit, and I wrote a longer piece about him earlier this month. He's like 2,000 yards away from serious Hall of Fame conversation. And I think he understands he's not going to be the guy at the head of a duck boat, for a Patriots championship parade, but he has
no.
a chance to put a cap on his career here by going out in a way that would lead people to think that, he's Hall of Fame worthy. And
Yeah.
this is not exactly the kind of stuff that, people want to, think about at this stage of his career. The other thing too, and I think the Patriots are in good shape because they are in the short term Stefon Diggs business.
Yeah.
Everyone that I talked to in Buffalo and in Minnesota said that, the expiration date hits about 2 years in
Yeah.
when he starts, either getting distracted or getting upset or, so if you're the Patriots, you have to figure out a way, if this is going to become a problem, you have to figure out a way to keep this together for a couple of years and to keep him
Yeah.
focused. And maybe there's some veterans in that room, Mac Hollins, Morgan Moses, whoever, that can help keep him focused if he is having problems staying focused, at least at this stage of his career. But I agree with you. I think optically it is a horrible look, and he
Yeah.
should know better for a guy who's been in the league for such an extended period of time. The flip side again is, it's May.
Yeah.
And
No,
I think it's
yeah.
something, but I don't think it's a huge thing, at least at this point.
I mean, we can say that, right? It's just everyone else who doesn't really understand or expects like every single person to be present for OTAs and to
Yeah.
be on the field.
Well,
And
well, here's where it becomes a problem. If he is not there next month for the mandatory minicamp,
sure,
if he's not
absolutely.
even on the sideline, even staying, I want Stefon Diggs standing on the sidelines, even
Yeah.
just watching with Mac Hollins is limited. He's not going through drills. Standing and watching with Mac Hollins.
Yeah.
I think if he's there, then that's the first step in this becoming a non-story. If he's not there, it's just going to continue to build, even with a rehab process that he's going through in Miami, even though he's being very diligent in that process, by
I
all
mean,
accounts.
listen, we could throw up another 10 videos of what this guy looks like 10 months post ACL surgery, and probably all of this will be forgotten, right? Because it seems like he's way ahead of schedule and he looks great. And so, yeah, I think to your point, it's show up to the mandatory minicamp before we break for the summer, and maybe we see a little bit of him on the field. Maybe we see him doing walkthroughs, and I think we this all kind of fades off into the sunset, right? We just kind of forget about it because he's there. When he's supposed to be there, he's in Miami doing his own rehab, trying to get himself ready. Guy was living his life. I'm not going to hate on it. The optics of it look like crap, but like it is what it is. But if he's there, mandatory minicamp, and like obviously there's going to be the due diligence done by the media, like when he gets in front of everyone, be like, hey man, like what are we doing here? And like I'm sure handle it like a professional, handle it like you're just, hey, I was on a boat, I was in my rehab process. I can't like be in rehab for 10 hours out of the day. I can do what I'm supposed to be doing for as long as I can. But then like I was relaxing, right? Like that's really the end of it. No one saw him do anything other than be on a boat, right? So it's so like we can all make our judgments, but it's like, listen, I'm here, I'm committed to this team, and I want to help, help Mike and help this offense, be better and do better this year and be a big part of this thing. Like, great, all right, cool, moving on.
Telling you, man, wide receivers. Just ask the Giants. Keep all wide receivers should stay off. Did you ever get into a situation with Amendola or Edelman or one of those guys renting a boat and just saying just don't even just don't it shouldn't even enter the conversation.
No, those guys were always locked in. They were more like, let's go get our skateboards and ride the streets of Boston. No boats, no boats.
Stay on land. Stay on land.
On the land.
It'll work
On
out
the
much,
land.
much better. I will say this, that I was not surprised. He's very active on social media. He's very active on Instagram anyway.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was a coincidence that yesterday, after that news broke, there were like 10 Instagram reels of him working out.
Yeah. I mean, like, because he's probably like, I mean, if I were him, I'd be pissed off too, right? I get this video that's posting like, and now everyone in the country thinks that I'm just kind of out here partying, doing nothing, when probably he's putting in some freaking serious work to look how he's looking and to be where he's at in his rehab process. So, like, I probably would have done the exact same thing. Be like, listen here, guys, like, I'm busting my ass to get back on the field and like get off my back that I just had a little bit of relaxed time and was on a boat. Like, all right, so all right, stay on land, Stefon. Just party on, do the thing on land, I guess.
That ever happened with Bill? Like, was there ever a situation that maybe we didn't know about? Because I know guys didn't get back for voluntary, all that stuff over the course of the spring. There's all these OTAs, there's all these kind of check marks you have to hit.
Yeah.
And I know there have been guys who had trouble getting back for weather and for whatever reasons, but you ever had an incident like that? Ever had?
Honestly, man, I think that Bill had such a stranglehold on everyone in that building that everyone was just so self-conscious and so self-aware of what they were posting or what they were doing and never wanted to be in that position because they knew that Bill just didn't tolerate it and would just probably get rid of him. Right? Like I don't think that would be the case even with Stefon because of the type of player that he is, but like he doesn't tolerate it. And wouldn't be something that that really he would kind of want to deal with. So he'd probably just be like, all right, like this isn't working. But most of the time, everyone was on their best behavior during the off season and when we went away for break.
There are a couple of guys who, at least yesterday, Wednesday, May 28th, took advantage of the fact that Diggs wasn't there. And remember this name, Efton Chisholm. Undrafted free agent, wide receiver. This is a guy who is going to end up sticking around. Got a little Chris Hogan, little Danny Amendola in him. Little, kind of guy who's a little bit under the radar. He was returning punts yesterday. He was attacking the football. He was running clean routes. Look, it's against air. I get it. I understand it at this time of year. But this is a young man who I think if he continues to ascend, we will be talking about as a preseason hero, fourth quarter hero, 5 catches, 55 yards from, in the fourth quarter against Washington of the preseason opener, where everyone is like, we got to find out a way to keep this guy in the roster. So Efton Chisholm is the guy. And look, I'll say this, and I'll leave you with one more note here. Javon Baker had a pretty good day.
Well, we were talking about him last time during this time of year too.
Yeah,
so
it's having a pretty good day.
Again, for those two guys, it's all about stringing them together. And just like we talked about, a little bit earlier with Field, it's forget about last year, man. Turn the yearbook, and this is a brand new opportunity with a brand new coaching staff. those guys need to take advantage of every single time, every single chance that they get, and just prove to everyone that they belong on this field. Because otherwise, they're going to go in a different direction. So, like for them, every single day means something. Honestly, I mean, I think for a lot of guys in that skill position room, every single day is a really good opportunity because you know that there's going to be there's going to be three guys that are definitely going to be there. So you have to know that, and you have to understand that there's really no opportunity for you to just not show up on a day or to have a bad day. Like you can't have bad days, man. As undrafted and bottom 11 guys, man, and I know this better than anyone. Bad days are not something that you can be like, it just wasn't my day. Like, no, 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 no. No, we don't have bad days. Like catch everything, do everything right, no mistakes. And if you do make a mistake, make it flying around at 110% and then just learn from it and never make it again. So that's good to hear though. I'm happy that he was having a good day.
That's all I got this week, Chris.
Right.
We gave the people an awful lot between you, me, and Field. So we will wrap it up and we will talk again next week. Thank you very much for your time and take care. We'll talk soon.
Hey, Billy.